Chris Ockenvold.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I would like to congratulate Dr. Cam Calder for a thoughtful, considered, concerned piece of very serious legislation. Good legislation, Mr. Speaker, can often be identified early on in good speeches, and this bill, I think, has generated a number already. People, and it's compliment to all those who've given the speeches, but also, I'm not sure about Ian's, but also, no, it was all right, but also it's a compliment to the author of the bill. All right, and the Select Committee, and the chairman of the Select Committee, we'll get it right. But this one has produced some interesting speeches from all round the House. I thought Mike Sabin introduced a very interesting perspective from his earlier career as a law enforcer, in that he sort of emphasised it's not just enough to have a law that risks making people more inventive than more honest. There have to be consequences attached to not staying within the law. And that's why I worry a little bit about Labor thinking that this is perhaps going a little bit too far. Couldn't we weaken it down a bit? And I think it should be discussed properly within the Select Committee, and I look forward to that. Say that again. It's already illegal to actually point a laser at an aircraft. Well, yes, but I'll cover that, because I might have thought that was a little bit late. If you think you're stopping things by a law, no, you shouldn't have done that. That's no good, and that was, I think, Mike Sabin's point of view. You can't leave it that late. The misuse of these instruments puts New Zealand lives at risk. National is committed to ensuring the safety of New Zealanders using the transport system so that it's not compromised. This bill ensures the proper regulation of devices that pose a threat to the safety of New Zealanders, and it's the threat that you require to deal with. It's not just larrikins, is it? It's not just larrikins. There can be really disturbed people. No, there can be really disturbed people, and there are those, and we live in a relatively free country from it, but there are those who are inclined towards terrorism. So over the top, I don't think so. They can be used at football matches, any crowd scene. Darian called it madness. Yes, it is. It is madness, and we can't presume sanity on the basis of who might use these things. Let's think back to some of the crazy things that have happened in the past. Stones or bricks being chucked off over bridges on motorways, presumably just for laughs. Dreadful things can happen, and you have to have consequences attached to breaking the law. I'm particularly glad, Mr. Speaker, to see that the Greens have seen sense through the voice of Mr. Clendon, recognising that there are dangers and that they can't pursue their normal standpoint, which I respect, of liberty for all. Well, this isn't liberty for all, this is liberty for some without this law, and dangers for others. There are dangers, and there's no such thing as an inoffensive laser light. Now, there will be inoffensive proper uses, and these are the things that select committees are there to consider. And I don't doubt we will have people whose eyesight perhaps is not as good as our current Speaker and the Chair, who might have a better shooting with a laser-assisted sort of target selection thing, but I'm quite sure the Speaker doesn't require that. Indeed, he's bringing me to a sharp stop in case I carry on. But there should be no place for casual recreational use for these instruments. New Zealand First, Mr. Prosser, I thought, gave a wonderful dissertation on the physics of laser lights, and one could almost call it illuminating. Oh! The availability, the price, the lack of responsibility, powerful equipment, irresponsible hands and minds. All these things have to be taken into account, and I'd like to join with the others and just express congratulations to Dr. Cam Calder on his thoughtful, considered, concerned and serious piece of legislation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Is any member seeking a call? This will be in reply.
Yes.
Dr. Cam Calder.
Well, it is a huge pleasure, and I must say I do